Picture this: you're standing at a crossroads, faced with a decision that could change the course of your life. Maybe it's a career move, a relationship choice, or even something as simple as how to spend your free time. The weight of it feels unbearable, and your mind is clouded with doubt. What do you do? For centuries, people have turned to Stoicism, a philosophy that doesn't just offer answers but equips you with the tools to make better decisions, even in the toughest moments. Today, we're diving into 30 Stoic techniques that have helped countless individuals navigate life's challenges with clarity and wisdom. Whether you're facing a major life choice or just want to make better decisions in your day-to-day life, these timeless principles can guide you. So, let's explore how Stoicism can transform the way you think, act, and ultimately live. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of practical strategies to make wiser choices and face life's uncertainties with confidence. Ready to get started? Let's begin. Now, let's dive into the first technique, the Dichotomy of Control. This foundational Stoic principle teaches us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. At its core, it's about recognizing that we can't control external events, but we can always control how we respond to them. Think about it like this: you can't control the weather, but you can control whether you carry an umbrella. Similarly, you can't control how others treat you, but you can control your reactions and attitudes toward their behavior. This mindset is incredibly freeing because it shifts your focus from worrying about things you can't change to taking action on the things you can. For example, if you're stressed about an upcoming presentation, the Dichotomy of Control reminds you that while you can't control how the audience will react, you can prepare thoroughly, practice your delivery, and manage your nerves. By applying this principle, you reduce unnecessary anxiety and make decisions with greater clarity and confidence. So, the next time you're faced with a tough choice, ask yourself, what's within my control here? Focus your energy there and let go of the rest. Building on the idea of focusing on what we can control, let's explore the second technique, negative visualization. This Stoic practice involves imagining the worst-case scenario in a given situation, not to dwell on fear, but to prepare your mind for any outcome. It might sound counterintuitive, but by envisioning what could go wrong, you often realize that even the worst-case scenario is manageable. For instance, imagine you're worried about losing your job. Instead of avoiding the thought, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? You might face financial strain, but you'd also find ways to adapt, cut expenses, or seek new opportunities. By confronting this possibility head-on, you reduce its emotional weight and gain clarity on how to handle it. Another example is preparing for a difficult conversation. Visualize the other person reacting poorly or the discussion going off track. This mental rehearsal helps you stay calm, think on your feet, and respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. The beauty of negative visualization is that it doesn't just prepare you for challenges, it also deepens your appreciation for what you currently have. By imagining life without certain blessings like good health or supportive relationships, you cultivate gratitude and make decisions from a place of abundance rather than fear. So, the next time you're faced with uncertainty, try this technique. Picture the worst, plan your response, and watch as your mind becomes clearer and more resilient. Now let's shift our focus to a technique that helps us step back and see the larger landscape of our choices, the view from above. This Stoic practice encourages us to mentally zoom out from our immediate concerns and consider the bigger picture. By doing so, we gain perspective that can make even the most overwhelming decisions feel more manageable. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, feeling frustrated and late for an important meeting. Instead of letting the stress consume you, try picturing yourself from a bird's-eye view. From that vantage point, the traffic jam is just one tiny blip in the vast network of roads and cities. The meeting itself, while important, is just one event in the grand scheme of your life. This shift in perspective can help you stay calm and focused rather than letting frustration dictate your mood. Another example is dealing with a conflict at work. Instead of getting caught up in the tension, consider how this disagreement fits into the broader context of your career and relationships. Will it matter in a month, a year, or 5 years? Often we realize that the issue isn't as monumental as it feels in the moment. The view from above also helps us recognize our place in the world. Reflect on the scale of the universe, the passage of time, or the interconnectedness of humanity. It's humbling to realize how small our individual struggles are in the grand tapestry of existence. This doesn't diminish their importance, but helps us approach them with a sense of balance and clarity. So, the next time you're feeling weighed down by a decision, take a moment to step back mentally. Ask yourself, how does this fit into the bigger picture? This simple yet powerful technique can transform how you think, feel, and act, allowing you to make decisions with greater wisdom and peace of mind. Moving forward, let's explore another powerful Stoic practice that has stood the test of time: journaling for clarity. This technique, favored by great Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, is a simple yet transformative way to organize your thoughts and enhance your decision-making process. By putting your ideas on paper, you create space to reflect, analyze, and gain a deeper understanding of your emotions and choices. Imagine starting your day by jotting down your priorities or ending it by reflecting on what went well and what could be improved. This habit doesn't just help you track your progress, it also allows you to identify patterns in your thinking and behavior. For example, if you're facing a difficult decision, writing down the pros and cons can bring clarity and objectivity to the situation. It's like having a conversation with yourself where you can weigh your options without the noise of external pressures. Marcus Aurelius himself used journaling to reflect on his values, challenges, and actions, ensuring that his decisions aligned with his principles. If you're new to journaling, start small. Dedicate just 5 minutes a day to write about your thoughts, feelings, or goals. Don't worry about perfection. The goal is to create a habit, not a masterpiece. Over time, you'll find that journaling becomes a valuable tool for self-awareness and better decision-making. So, grab a notebook and begin your journey toward clarity today. As you write, ask yourself, what truly matters to me, and how can I align my choices with my values? This practice, though simple, can have a profound impact on how you navigate life's challenges and opportunities. Now, let's turn our attention to a practice that might seem a little unconventional at first, but its impact is profound: practicing Memento Mori. This Latin phrase, which translates to "remember you must die," is a powerful Stoic exercise that encourages us to reflect on our mortality. At its core, Memento Mori isn't about dwelling on the morbid, it's about gaining perspective. By reminding ourselves that our time is limited, we're better able to focus on what truly matters and make decisions that align with our long-term values. Consider this: how often do we get caught up in trivial concerns or distractions that don't contribute to our deeper goals? Reflecting on the inevitability of death helps us cut through the noise and prioritize what's important. For example, imagine you're faced with a decision about taking on a new project at work. If you pause and ask yourself, will this matter in the grand scheme of my life? The answer might surprise you. This practice can also help in personal relationships. When you're tempted to hold onto a grudge or waste time on petty arguments, remembering that time is fleeting can inspire you to let go and focus on what truly matters: connection and love. Even in financial decisions, Memento Mori can guide you to spend your resources on experiences and investments that enrich your life rather than fleeting indulgences. The Stoics believed that by regularly reflecting on our mortality, we could live with greater intention and purpose. It's not about fearing death, but about using the awareness of it as a tool to live more fully. So, take a moment each day to remind yourself of the preciousness of time. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I be proud of how I spent it? This simple yet profound question can transform how you approach decisions, helping you live a life that's aligned with your deepest values and aspirations. Building on the idea of intentional living, let's explore another Stoic technique that sharpens our decision-making, the discipline of assent. This practice is all about learning to pause before we react. Imagine this scenario: something happens, maybe a disagreement with a colleague or a sudden setback, and your first impulse is to react emotionally. The discipline of assent teaches us to take a step back and evaluate that initial impression. Is it accurate? Is it helpful? Or is it just a knee-jerk reaction? By creating this small gap between stimulus and response, we give ourselves the space to choose a more thoughtful and deliberate course of action. For example, if someone criticizes your work, instead of immediately feeling defensive or upset, you can pause and ask yourself, is there any truth to this? Can I learn from it? This simple pause can transform the way you approach conflicts, decisions, and even everyday interactions. The Stoics believed that our impressions, those initial thoughts or feelings we have about a situation, are often misleading. They're colored by our biases, fears, or past experiences. The discipline of assent helps us filter out the noise and focus on what's true and actionable. It's like having an internal quality control system for your thoughts. By practicing this discipline, you'll find yourself making decisions that are less reactive and more aligned with your values. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about understanding them and choosing how to act on them wisely. So, the next time you're faced with a challenging situation, try this. Pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this impression serving me, or is it just a distraction? This small habit can lead to more intentional and effective decision-making, helping you navigate life with greater clarity and purpose. Moving forward, let's turn our attention to another powerful Stoic practice, the discipline of desire. This technique is about aligning what we want with what is truly virtuous and within our control. At its core, the Stoics believed that much of our suffering comes from desiring things that are either beyond our reach or not aligned with our values. By focusing our desires on what is virtuous, like kindness, wisdom, and integrity, and letting go of external outcomes, we can simplify our lives and make more meaningful decisions. For example, imagine you're striving for a promotion at work. If your desire is solely tied to the outcome getting the role, you're likely to feel stressed, anxious, or even disappointed if it doesn't happen. But if you shift your desire to the process itself, focusing on doing your best work, learning and growing, you'll find more satisfaction and less frustration, regardless of the result. The discipline of desire encourages us to ask, what can I control here and what truly matters? This mindset helps us let go of unnecessary attachments and focus on what's within our power. Another example could be in relationships. Instead of desiring someone else's approval or affection, focus on being the kind of person you aspire to be: honest, compassionate, and present. By aligning your desires with virtue, you'll make decisions that feel more authentic and less driven by external pressures. The beauty of this practice is that it frees us from the endless chase for things that don't truly fulfill us. It's not about giving up ambition or passion, but redirecting them toward what's meaningful and achievable. So, the next time you're faced with a decision, ask yourself, what do I really want here, and is it aligned with my values and what I can control? This simple shift can lead to clearer, calmer, and more purposeful choices. By practicing the discipline of desire, you'll find that life becomes less about chasing external rewards and more about living in harmony with your deepest principles. Now, let's explore another essential Stoic practice, the discipline of action. This technique focuses on ensuring that our actions align with reason and virtue, even when faced with difficult circumstances. The Stoics believed that every action we take should be guided by wisdom, integrity, and a commitment to doing what is right, regardless of external pressures or challenges. At its heart, the discipline of action is about taking responsibility for how we behave in the world. It's not just about what we do, but why and how we do it. For instance, imagine you're in a heated argument with a colleague. The easy path might be to lash out or defend your ego, but the disciplined approach would be to pause, reflect, and respond with fairness and compassion, even if it's hard. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings, but rather channeling them in a way that aligns with your principles. To apply this in daily life, start by setting clear intentions before you act. Ask yourself, is this action in line with my values? Am I acting out of reason or emotion? When you're unsure, take a moment to step back and assess the situation. Another practical tip is to practice small acts of virtue in everyday situations. For example, if you're stuck in traffic, instead of reacting with frustration, remind yourself that patience is a virtue you can cultivate. Or if you're tempted to cut corners at work, choose to put in the effort because integrity matters more than convenience. The discipline of action also involves learning from mistakes. If you act in a way that doesn't align with your values, reflect on it without judgment and use it as an opportunity to grow. The key is to keep moving forward, striving to act in ways that reflect your best self. Over time, this practice builds a sense of inner consistency and trust in yourself. So, the next time you're faced with a tough decision or a challenging moment, remember the discipline of action. Ask yourself, what would a virtuous person do here? This simple question can guide you toward choices that are not only effective but also deeply meaningful. By acting with reason and virtue, you'll find that even the most difficult situations become opportunities to live with purpose and integrity. Moving forward, let's turn our attention to the four foundational virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues served as a moral compass for the Stoics, helping them navigate life's complexities and make decisions rooted in integrity. Understanding and applying these virtues can bring clarity and strength to your own decision-making process. First, wisdom is about seeing things as they truly are and making choices based on understanding rather than impulse. It's the ability to step back, assess a situation objectively, and act with insight. For example, when faced with a tough career decision, wisdom encourages you to gather information, weigh the pros and cons, and choose the path that aligns with your long-term goals rather than short-term gratification. Next, courage isn't just about physical bravery but the strength to stand by your principles, even when it's uncomfortable or risky. It's the virtue that helps you speak up for what's right, take responsibility for your actions, and face challenges head-on. Imagine standing up to a bully at work or advocating for a cause you believe in. These are moments where courage guides you to act with conviction. Justice, the third virtue, is about fairness and treating others with respect and kindness. It reminds us to consider how our decisions impact those around us and to strive for equity in our actions. For instance, if you're in a position of leadership, justice might mean making decisions that benefit the entire team rather than just yourself. Finally, temperance is the practice of self-control and moderation. It's about finding balance in your choices, whether it's resisting the urge to overspend, managing your time effectively, or staying calm in stressful situations. Temperance helps you avoid extremes and make decisions that are measured and thoughtful. Together, these four virtues form a powerful framework for decision-making. When you're unsure of what to do, ask yourself, is this choice wise, courageous, just, and temperate? By aligning your actions with these principles, you'll not only make better decisions but also live a life of purpose and virtue. So, the next time you face a dilemma, let these timeless Stoic virtues guide you toward clarity and integrity. Now, let's explore another powerful Stoic technique that can sharpen your decision-making: premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This practice involves intentionally imagining the worst-case scenarios before making a decision, not to dwell on negativity, but to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for any outcome. Think of it as a mental rehearsal for life's challenges. By envisioning potential obstacles, you reduce the shock and anxiety that might come if they actually occur, allowing you to respond with calm and clarity. Here's how you can apply this technique step by step. First, identify the decision you're facing and the possible outcomes. For example, if you're considering starting a new business, think about the hurdles you might encounter, such as financial setbacks or market competition. Next, vividly imagine these challenges as if they've already happened. How would you feel? What steps could you take to address them? This isn't about fear-mongering, but about building resilience and a plan of action. Then reflect on how these obstacles, even if they seem overwhelming, could ultimately strengthen you. Perhaps a failed venture would teach you valuable lessons or push you to innovate. Finally, remind yourself that these imagined scenarios are just that, possibilities, not certainties. By preparing for the worst while hoping for the best, you equip yourself to handle uncertainty with confidence and adaptability. Premeditatio malorum isn't about pessimism, it's about empowerment. It trains you to face life's uncertainties head-on, making you a more decisive and resilient decision-maker. So, the next time you're at a crossroads, take a moment to premeditate the obstacles. You might just find yourself better prepared to navigate whatever comes your way. Now, let's turn our attention to the influence of role models in shaping wise decision-making. Stoicism teaches us that studying the lives of great Stoic figures like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius can serve as a powerful guide in navigating life's complexities. These individuals weren't just philosophers, they were practitioners who faced real challenges and made decisions grounded in Stoic principles. By examining their lives, we can draw inspiration and practical wisdom for our own choices. Take Seneca, for example. A statesman, playwright, and advisor to Emperor Nero, Seneca's writings often reflect his struggles with power, ambition, and adversity. His letters and essays provide timeless advice on how to remain composed in the face of chaos and how to align our actions with virtue. Then there's Epictetus, a former slave who became one of Stoicism's most influential teachers. His emphasis on focusing only on what we can control is a cornerstone of Stoic thought, offering clarity in decision-making. Finally, consider Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled during turbulent times. His personal journal, now known as the Meditations, reveals how he used Stoic principles to maintain integrity and resolve in the face of immense responsibility. By studying their lives, we gain not just philosophical insights, but also practical examples of how to apply these principles in our own lives. When faced with a tough decision, ask yourself, what would Seneca do in this situation? How would Epictetus approach this challenge? What would Marcus Aurelius advise? These questions can serve as a mental compass, guiding us toward decisions that are grounded in wisdom and virtue. Role models remind us that Stoicism isn't just an abstract philosophy, it's a way of life that has been tested and proven by those who came before us. So, as you work on improving your decision-making, let the lives of these Stoic giants inspire you to act with courage, clarity, and purpose. Moving forward, let's explore another powerful Stoic technique, the power of silence. In a world filled with constant noise and chatter, silence can be a rare but transformative tool for decision-making. Stoics believe that by practicing restraint in speech, we create space for clarity and intention, allowing us to respond rather than react. This doesn't mean staying silent all the time, but rather choosing when to speak and when to listen, ensuring our words align with reason and purpose. Take the example of Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism. Legend has it that he was inspired to pursue philosophy after losing everything in a shipwreck. During this time of loss, Zeno spent years in silence, reflecting on life and its uncertainties. This period of quiet contemplation shaped his philosophy and taught him the value of inner stillness. Similarly, Marcus Aurelius often emphasized the importance of silence in his writings. He believed that unnecessary speech could cloud judgment and lead to impulsive decisions. By remaining silent, he gave himself the opportunity to weigh his words and actions carefully, ensuring they were rooted in virtue. In our own lives, practicing silence can help us avoid speaking out of anger, fear, or haste. It allows us to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. For instance, in a heated argument, choosing silence over a quick retort can prevent misunderstandings and open the door to more constructive dialogue. The Stoic practice of silence isn't about withholding thoughts, but about cultivating the discipline to speak only when necessary and with intention. So, the next time you're faced with a challenging decision, try embracing silence. Let it be your ally in creating clarity, fostering understanding, and guiding you toward choices that align with your values and goals. Now, let's turn our attention to another essential Stoic technique, the art of detachment. At first glance, the idea of detachment might sound cold or indifferent, but in Stoicism, it's quite the opposite. Detachment is about freeing ourselves from the emotional weight of outcomes, allowing us to make decisions with greater clarity and calm. The Stoics taught that while we can control our actions, we cannot control the results. By accepting this, we reduce fear and anxiety, which often cloud our judgment. Think of it this way: when we're overly attached to a specific outcome, we risk making decisions driven by desperation or fear rather than reason. For example, imagine you're preparing for a job interview. You've done all you can to prepare, but instead of focusing on giving your best effort, you're consumed by worry about whether you'll get the job. This attachment to the outcome can lead to unnecessary stress and even sabotage your performance. The Stoic approach would be to focus on the process, preparing thoroughly and presenting yourself authentically, while letting go of the result. One practical exercise to cultivate detachment is to regularly remind yourself of the dichotomy of control. Ask yourself what's within my power and what's not. By shifting your focus to what you can control, you naturally detach from external outcomes. Another effective practice is to visualize worst-case scenarios, not to dwell on them, but to prepare your mind. For instance, if you don't get the job, you might consider other opportunities or reevaluate your path. This exercise helps you realize that even the worst outcomes are manageable, reducing their emotional hold on you. Detachment isn't about apathy or inaction. It's about freeing yourself from the mental chains of fear and desire. When you approach decisions from this mindset, you'll find yourself making choices that are more thoughtful, intentional, and aligned with your values. So, the next time you're faced with a decision, try practicing detachment. Focus on your effort, let go of the outcome, and see how it brings a new level of calm and clarity to your life. Moving forward, let's explore another powerful Stoic practice, the practice of gratitude. Gratitude might seem like a simple concept, but its impact on decision-making is profound. When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have. This shift in perspective helps us prioritize what truly matters, making our decisions clearer and more intentional. The Stoics believed that unnecessary desires often cloud our judgment, pulling us toward choices that don't align with our values or long-term goals. By practicing gratitude, we counteract this tendency, grounding ourselves in the present and appreciating what's already within our reach. For example, imagine you're faced with a major life decision, like whether to take a new job or stay in your current role. If you're focused on what you don't have, perhaps a higher salary or more recognition, you might make a choice driven by discontent rather than thoughtful consideration. But if you take a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for in your current role, like meaningful work, supportive colleagues, or a stable environment, you'll gain a clearer perspective. This doesn't mean you should settle for less. Rather, it helps you make decisions from a place of contentment rather than lack. One practical way to incorporate gratitude into your daily life is to keep a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're thankful for. These can be big or small, anything from a kind gesture from a friend to the comfort of a warm meal. Over time, this practice trains your mind to notice and appreciate the positives in your life, reducing the pull of unnecessary desires. Another approach is to pause before making a decision and ask yourself, what am I grateful for in this situation? This simple question can help you approach choices with a sense of abundance rather than scarcity. Gratitude also fosters resilience, helping us navigate challenges with a more balanced mindset. When we're grateful, setbacks feel less overwhelming because we're anchored in the good that still exists. For instance, if a project doesn't go as planned, focusing on what you learned or the support you received can help you move forward with clarity and purpose. The practice of gratitude isn't about ignoring difficulties. It's about recognizing the full picture and making decisions from a place of strength and perspective. So, as you go about your day, try incorporating gratitude into your routine. Notice how it shifts your focus, simplifies your choices, and brings a deeper sense of calm and clarity to your decision-making process. Now, let's turn our attention to Technique 15, the importance of habits. The Stoics understood that our daily habits are the building blocks of our character and ultimately the decisions we make. Over time, small, consistent actions shape who we are and how we respond to life's challenges. Think of habits as the foundation of a house. Each one laid carefully determines the stability and strength of the entire structure. For instance, if you cultivate the habit of reflecting on your day each evening, you're more likely to approach tomorrow with clarity and purpose. On the other hand, if you develop the habit of reacting impulsively to stress, you might find yourself making choices you later regret. The Stoics believed that habits are not just routines, they are expressions of our values and priorities. When our habits align with virtues like wisdom, courage, and temperance, we naturally make better decisions. So, how can you build habits that support wise decision-making? Start small. Choose one habit you'd like to develop, perhaps taking a few minutes each morning to plan your day or practicing mindfulness before making important choices. Consistency is key. Even a few minutes a day can add up over time, creating a strong foundation for thoughtful action. Another tip is to pair new habits with existing ones. For example, if you already have a morning coffee routine, use that time to reflect on your goals for the day. This approach makes it easier to integrate the new habit into your life. It's also helpful to track your progress. Keep a simple journal or use an app to note when you've successfully practiced your habit. This not only reinforces the behavior but also gives you a sense of accomplishment. Remember, the goal isn't perfection but progress. If you miss a day, don't dwell on it. Simply start again the next day. Finally, cultivate awareness of the habits you already have. Are they serving you or are they leading you away from your values? The Stoics encourage us to periodically examine our habits and make adjustments as needed. By intentionally shaping your habits, you're not just improving your decision-making, you're crafting a life aligned with your deepest principles. So, take a moment to reflect. What's one habit you can start today to support wiser choices in your life? Moving forward, let's explore Technique 16, the role of reason in Stoic decision-making. The Stoics believed that reason is our most powerful tool for navigating life's challenges. While emotions can cloud our judgment, reason allows us to see things clearly and make decisions aligned with our values. This doesn't mean ignoring emotions entirely, but rather not letting them dictate our actions. For example, imagine you're faced with a high-stress situation at work, a tight deadline or a demanding client. It's natural to feel overwhelmed or frustrated in such moments. However, the Stoic approach would be to pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is within my control here? What can I do to address this situation effectively? By focusing on reason, you shift from reacting impulsively to responding thoughtfully. Another practical example is handling conflicts in personal relationships. When tensions rise, it's easy to let anger or hurt guide your words. Instead, Stoics would encourage you to step back, consider the other person's perspective, and respond with clarity and compassion. Applying reason in these moments helps prevent misunderstandings and strengthens relationships. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of preparing your mind in advance. They practiced reflecting on potential challenges and envisioning how they would respond with reason rather than emotion. This mental rehearsal builds resilience and equips you to stay calm under pressure. For instance, if you know you have a difficult conversation ahead, take a few moments to think through your points logically and anticipate the other person's reactions. This preparation allows you to approach the situation with confidence and poise. Another key aspect is recognizing when emotions are trying to take over. When you feel overwhelmed, remind yourself that emotions are temporary but reason endures. Ask yourself, will this decision still make sense tomorrow, next week, or next year? This perspective helps you avoid short-term, emotion-driven choices that you might regret later. Finally, the Stoics taught that reason is not just a tool for individual decisions but a guiding principle for living a virtuous life. When you prioritize reason, you align your actions with wisdom, courage, and justice values that lead to long-term fulfillment. So, the next time you're faced with a tough decision, take a moment to pause and let reason guide you. It's not about suppressing emotions but channeling them into thoughtful, purposeful action. Now, let's turn our attention to Technique 17, the value of simplicity in Stoic decision-making. In a world filled with endless options and distractions, simplicity can be a powerful tool for clarity and focus. The Stoics understood that the more we complicate our lives, the harder it becomes to make decisions that align with our true priorities. By embracing simplicity, we reduce decision fatigue, free up mental energy, and create space for what truly matters. One practical step to simplify life is to start by identifying and cutting out unnecessary commitments. Take a moment to reflect on your daily routine. Are there tasks, obligations, or habits that don't add value or align with your goals? Letting go of these can help you focus on what's essential. Another way to practice simplicity is by decluttering your physical and mental space. A cluttered environment can lead to a cluttered mind, making it harder to think clearly and make intentional choices. Start small. Clear out a drawer, organize your workspace, or delete unused apps from your phone. These small acts can have a big impact on your ability to focus. Additionally, the Stoics encouraged simplifying your desires. Instead of chasing endless wants, focus on what you truly need and what brings lasting fulfillment. Ask yourself, does this add value to my life, or is it just a distraction? By aligning your desires with your values, you make decisions that are more meaningful and less overwhelming. Another key aspect is simplifying your decision-making process itself. When faced with a choice, avoid overanalyzing or seeking perfection. Instead, ask yourself, what is the simplest, most practical solution here? Trust your judgment and move forward without second-guessing yourself. The Stoics also valued simplicity in relationships. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, and let go of toxic or draining connections. This creates a supportive environment that encourages clarity and growth. Finally, simplicity is about mindset. Cultivate gratitude for what you already have rather than constantly seeking more. This shift in perspective helps you appreciate the present moment and reduces the pressure to make decisions based on external validation or material gain. By embracing simplicity, you create a life that is not only easier to navigate but also more aligned with your deepest values. So, take a step back, simplify where you can, and watch how it transforms your decision-making process. Shifting our focus now, let's dive into Technique 18, the practice of self-reflection. The Stoics believed that taking time to look inward was essential for understanding our actions, decisions, and even our thought processes. Self-reflection allows us to step back from the noise of daily life and gain insight into what drives our choices. By doing this regularly, we can identify patterns, recognize areas for improvement, and ultimately make more intentional decisions. One way to begin is by setting aside a few minutes each day to reflect on your actions and decisions. Ask yourself simple but powerful questions like, did I act in alignment with my values today? Or what could I have done differently in that situation? Questions like these help you assess your behavior and clarify your priorities. Another effective method is to keep a reflective journal. Writing down your thoughts and experiences provides a tangible record of your reflections and allows you to track your progress over time. Be honest with yourself, acknowledge both your successes and your mistakes without judgment. This honesty is key to learning and growth. Additionally, the Stoics emphasize the importance of reviewing your day in the evening. Before going to bed, take a moment to mentally walk through your day. Consider the decisions you made, how you handled challenges, and whether you stayed true to your principles. This practice helps you end the day with clarity and prepares you to approach the next day with greater awareness. For a deeper level of self-reflection, consider setting aside time weekly or monthly to review broader patterns in your life. Are there recurring situations that trigger stress or poor decisions? Are there habits or routines that no longer serve you? Identifying these patterns gives you the opportunity to make meaningful changes. Finally, remember that self-reflection isn't about self-criticism. It's about understanding yourself better so you can make decisions that align with your values and long-term goals. Approach it with curiosity and compassion, knowing that every reflection is a step toward growth. By making self-reflection a regular habit, you cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself and your choices, leading to wiser and more deliberate decision-making. So take a moment today to pause, reflect, and embrace the power of looking inward. Moving forward, let's explore an insightful Stoic technique that can help you cut through the noise and focus on what truly matters: the Stoic test of time. This technique encourages us to evaluate our decisions by asking a simple yet profound question: will this matter in the long run? By adopting this perspective, we can prioritize what's truly important and avoid getting caught up in fleeting distractions. Imagine you're faced with a challenging situation at work, a disagreement with a colleague, perhaps. In the heat of the moment, it might feel like a big deal, but when you step back and ask yourself, will this matter in a month, a year, or even 5 years? The answer often puts things into perspective. This shift in thinking helps you respond more calmly and intentionally rather than reacting impulsively. Another example might be deciding how to spend your free time. You could spend hours scrolling through social media or binge-watching shows, but when you apply the Stoic test of time, you might realize that those activities won't contribute to your long-term goals or personal growth. Instead, you might choose to invest that time in reading, learning a new skill, or strengthening relationships with loved ones, activities that truly enrich your life over time. The Stoic test of time isn't just about making better decisions in the moment. It's also about aligning your choices with your deeper values and aspirations. It helps you focus on what's meaningful and let go of what's trivial. For instance, if you're debating whether to take on a new project or responsibility, ask yourself, will this move me closer to my long-term goals? If the answer is no, it might be wise to reconsider. This practice also encourages gratitude and contentment. When you realize that many of the things you worry about or strive for won't matter in the grand scheme of things, it becomes easier to appreciate what you already have and find peace in the present moment. The Stoic test of time serves as a reminder that life is fleeting and our time and energy are precious resources. By using this technique regularly, you can make decisions that reflect what's truly important to you, leading to a more fulfilling and purposeful life. So, the next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, take a moment to ask yourself, will this matter in the long run? It's a simple question, but its impact can be profound. Now, let's turn our attention to another invaluable Stoic virtue that can transform the way we make decisions: patience. In a world that often demands quick answers and immediate results, patience stands as a quiet but powerful tool for clarity and wisdom. The Stoics believed that patience allows us to step back, reflect, and avoid hasty or impulsive choices. It's not about procrastination or inaction, but rather about giving ourselves the space to consider all angles before moving forward. Think about a time when you felt pressured to make a decision on the spot. Without patience, it's easy to let emotions take the wheel, leading to outcomes you might later regret. But when you practice patience, you create a buffer between the situation and your response, allowing reason to guide your actions instead of impulse. For example, if you're negotiating a deal or resolving a conflict, patience can prevent you from saying something you might regret or agreeing to terms that aren't in your best interest. It gives you the time to weigh the pros and cons, seek advice if needed, and arrive at a decision that aligns with your values and long-term goals. So, how can we cultivate patience in our daily lives? One effective strategy is to practice mindfulness. By focusing on the present moment, you can reduce the urge to rush or react impulsively. Simple exercises like deep breathing or taking a short walk can help create that mental space. Another approach is to shift your perspective on time. Instead of viewing delays or setbacks as obstacles, see them as opportunities for growth or reflection. This mindset can help you stay calm and composed even in challenging situations. Additionally, setting realistic expectations can foster patience. Recognize that not every decision needs to be made immediately, and some outcomes take time to unfold. By embracing this truth, you can reduce the pressure you put on yourself and approach decisions with a clearer, more balanced mindset. Finally, remember that patience is a skill that grows stronger with practice. Each time you choose patience over impulsiveness, you're building resilience and strengthening your ability to make thoughtful, deliberate decisions. The Stoics remind us that patience is not just a virtue but a path to greater peace and clarity in life. So, the next time you feel the urge to rush a decision, take a breath, step back, and give yourself the gift of time. It's in those moments of patience that true wisdom often emerges. Moving forward, let's dive into a transformative Stoic practice, the art of letting go. Holding on to past mistakes and regrets can weigh heavily on the mind, clouding our judgment and hindering our ability to make clear, rational decisions in the present. The Stoics understood that clinging to what's already happened only distracts us from what we can influence right now. Letting go isn't about forgetting or dismissing the past. It's about freeing ourselves from its emotional grip so we can focus on the choices before us. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. Each regret or mistake you refuse to release adds weight to that load, making it harder to move forward with clarity and purpose. Letting go is like setting down that backpack, giving yourself the freedom to walk unburdened. So, how can we practice this skill in our daily lives? One effective exercise is to write down the regrets or mistakes that haunt you. This act alone can help you externalize these feelings and see them more objectively. Afterward, ask yourself, can I change what happened? If the answer is no, remind yourself that dwelling on it won't undo the past. Instead, focus on what you can learn from the experience and how it can inform your decisions moving forward. Another powerful technique is to practice self-compassion. Recognize that everyone makes mistakes and they don't define your worth or your future. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend in a similar situation. Additionally, create a ritual of release. This could be as simple as tearing up the paper where you wrote down your regrets or imagining them floating away like leaves on a stream. Visualizing this process can help your mind internalize the act of letting go. Finally, redirect your energy toward the present moment. Engage in activities that bring you joy or fulfillment, and focus on the decisions you can make today to shape a better tomorrow. The Stoics believed that the past is outside our control, but the present is ours to shape. By mastering the art of letting go, you clear the path for wiser, more intentional decisions and open the door to a more peaceful and empowered life. Now, let's explore yet another powerful Stoic tool, the role of perspective. When faced with tough decisions, it's easy to get stuck in a narrow viewpoint, seeing only what's directly in front of us. But the Stoics knew that stepping back and looking at a situation from different angles can lead to more balanced and thoughtful choices. By broadening our perspective, we can see the bigger picture, reduce emotional biases, and make decisions grounded in reason rather than impulse. So, how can we practice this in our daily lives? One simple technique is to imagine how someone you admire, like a mentor or role model, would approach the situation. What advice would they give? How would they weigh the options? This mental exercise can help you see beyond your immediate feelings and consider a wiser, more objective path. Another approach is to play the devil's advocate with yourself. Challenge your assumptions by asking, what if the opposite of what I believe is true? This can uncover blind spots and open your mind to new possibilities. Additionally, try the time travel method. Imagine looking back at this decision 1 year, 5 years, or even 10 years from now. Will it still feel as crucial or overwhelming? Often, this exercise helps us realize what truly matters in the long term. Finally, practice empathy by considering how your decision might impact others. How would it affect your family, friends, or colleagues? By stepping into their shoes, you gain a more well-rounded understanding of the situation. The Stoics believed that perspective is a mental muscle that can be strengthened over time. The more we practice seeing situations from multiple angles, the more balanced and thoughtful our decisions become. So, the next time you're faced with a challenging choice, pause, take a step back, and ask yourself, what other perspectives can I consider? This simple shift can be the key to making wiser, more intentional decisions. Now, let's turn our attention to another essential Stoic practice, mindfulness. While mindfulness is often associated with modern meditation techniques, the Stoics were masters of this art long before it became a buzzword. At its core, mindfulness is about being fully present in the moment, observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. For the Stoics, this practice was crucial for maintaining clarity and focus, especially when making decisions. By cultivating mindfulness, you can quiet the noise of distractions and tune into what truly matters. So, how can you bring this ancient Stoic tool into your daily life? Start with small moments of awareness. For example, when you're eating, focus on the taste, texture, and smell of your food rather than rushing through the meal. This simple act trains your mind to stay present. Another practical tip is to pause before reacting to a situation. Take a few deep breaths, notice your emotions, and ask yourself, is this response aligned with my values and goals? This brief moment of mindfulness can prevent impulsive decisions and help you choose a more thoughtful path. You can also practice mindfulness through journaling. At the end of each day, reflect on your thoughts and actions, what went well, what could have been handled differently, and what lessons you've learned. This not only sharpens your self-awareness but also helps you approach future decisions with greater clarity. The Stoics believed that a mindful mind is a calm mind, and a calm mind makes better decisions. By integrating mindfulness into your routine, you'll find it easier to stay grounded, focused, and intentional, even in the face of life's challenges. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by a decision, take a moment to breathe, observe, and simply be present. This small yet powerful practice can transform the way you approach choices, leading to wiser and more intentional outcomes. Now, let's shift our focus to another cornerstone of Stoic wisdom, the importance of preparation. The Stoics believed that preparation was not just about planning for what might happen, but about equipping yourself mentally and emotionally to face any outcome. By preparing thoroughly, you can approach decisions with confidence, knowing you've done everything within your control to be ready. One powerful way the Stoics practiced preparation was through premeditation of obstacles, or premeditatio malorum. This involves visualizing potential challenges or setbacks and mentally rehearsing how you'll respond. For example, imagine you're preparing for a crucial meeting. Instead of simply hoping it goes well, think about what could go wrong: technical issues, tough questions, or even disagreements. Then plan how you'll handle each scenario. This doesn't mean dwelling on negativity. It means being ready to adapt and stay calm no matter what happens. Another practical example is preparing for financial decisions. Before making a significant purchase or investment, take the time to research, weigh the pros and cons, and consider the long-term impact. This level of preparation can prevent impulsive choices and lead to more thoughtful, sustainable outcomes. The Stoics also emphasized preparing for emotional challenges. For instance, if you know a difficult conversation is coming, take time to center yourself, reflect on your values, and plan how you'll communicate calmly and clearly. This kind of preparation ensures that your decisions are guided by reason, not emotion. Ultimately, preparation is about taking ownership of your actions and their consequences. By adopting this Stoic practice, you'll find yourself making decisions that are not only sound but also aligned with your long-term goals and values. So, the next time you're faced with a decision, take a moment to prepare mentally, emotionally, and practically. This simple yet profound habit can transform your approach to choices, leading to better outcomes and greater peace of mind. Now, let's move into a transformative Stoic practice: the power of acceptance. At its core, acceptance is about seeing reality for what it is without denial or resistance. The Stoics believed that fighting against what we cannot change only leads to frustration and poor decisions. Instead, by embracing acceptance, we free ourselves to focus on what we can control and respond more effectively to life's challenges. One way to practice acceptance is through mindful awareness. When faced with a difficult situation, pause and acknowledge it fully. For example, if you've received unexpected news that disrupts your plans, take a moment to process it rather than immediately reacting. Ask yourself, what is within my control here? This simple pause can shift your mindset from resistance to action. Another practical exercise is daily reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to review what happened, both good and bad. Acknowledge the events without judgment and consider how you responded. This practice helps build a habit of acceptance over time, making it easier to handle future challenges. Acceptance also involves letting go of perfectionism. Life is unpredictable, and clinging to how things should be can cloud your judgment. Instead, focus on adapting to the circumstances as they are. For instance, if a project doesn't go as planned, accept the current state and look for ways to improve or adjust. Finally, practice gratitude as a form of acceptance. By appreciating what you have, even in difficult moments, you shift your focus from what's missing to what's present. This mindset not only fosters acceptance but also opens the door to clearer, more balanced decision-making. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means seeing reality clearly so you can act with wisdom and purpose. By integrating this Stoic practice into your life, you'll find that decisions become less about avoiding discomfort and more about moving forward with clarity and resilience. Now, let's explore the role of feedback in making better decisions. Seeking and accepting feedback is a powerful Stoic practice that can sharpen your judgment and help you grow. The Stoics believed that feedback, even when it's critical, is an opportunity to learn and improve. The key is to approach it with an open mind and a focus on what you can control. When someone offers you feedback, resist the urge to react defensively. Instead, pause and consider their perspective. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? This simple shift in mindset can turn criticism into a valuable tool for growth. One practical way to handle feedback is to separate the message from the delivery. Even if the tone feels harsh, focus on the content. Is there truth in what's being said? If so, use it to refine your actions or decisions. Another important step is to practice self-reflection after receiving feedback. Take time to evaluate it honestly without judgment. Ask yourself if there's a pattern in the feedback you're receiving and how it aligns with your goals. This process helps you identify areas for improvement while staying grounded in your values. It's also important to remember that not all feedback is equal. The Stoics advised focusing on feedback from people you trust and respect, rather than letting every opinion sway you. By doing this, you ensure that the feedback you act on is meaningful and aligned with your principles. Finally, approach feedback with gratitude. Even when it's tough to hear, it's a chance to see yourself more clearly and make better decisions moving forward. By embracing feedback in a Stoic manner, you'll find that it becomes less about criticism and more about continuous improvement. This practice not only enhances your decision-making, but also strengthens your resilience and clarity in navigating life's challenges. Now, let's shift our focus to the practice of humility, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy that can profoundly shape our decision-making. Humility is about recognizing our limitations and staying open to learning from others. It's the antidote to arrogance, which often clouds judgment and leads to decisions that are self-serving or short-sighted. When we approach decisions with humility, we create space for collaboration and diverse perspectives, which often lead to better outcomes. Consider a leader who listens to their team's ideas instead of insisting on their own. This kind of humility not only builds trust but also uncovers solutions that might have been overlooked. Another example is admitting when you're wrong and being willing to adjust your course. This might feel uncomfortable, but it's a powerful way to avoid compounding mistakes and to make decisions that are grounded in reality rather than ego. Humility also helps us stay curious and open-minded. Instead of assuming we have all the answers, we seek out knowledge and insights from others. This mindset is particularly valuable in complex situations where no single perspective holds the full truth. By embracing humility, we make decisions that are more thoughtful, inclusive, and aligned with the greater good. In a world that often rewards confidence and assertiveness, humility can seem like a weakness. But the Stoics remind us that true strength lies in recognizing our imperfections and being willing to grow from them. When we practice humility, we not only make better decisions but also foster deeper connections with those around us. It's a practice that enriches both our lives and the lives of others. Next, we'll explore the value of consistency and how staying true to Stoic principles can lead to more reliable and trustworthy decision-making. Now, let's turn our attention to the value of consistency, a principle that anchors Stoic philosophy and strengthens our ability to make sound decisions. Consistency isn't just about repeating actions, it's about aligning our choices with Stoic principles over time, creating a foundation of reliability and trustworthiness. When we consistently apply these principles, we build habits that guide us toward wiser decisions, even in moments of uncertainty or pressure. Think about how consistency shapes trust. When others see that our actions align with our values, they're more likely to rely on us. For example, a leader who consistently demonstrates fairness and integrity inspires confidence in their team. Similarly, when we consistently practice Stoic techniques like the Dichotomy of Control or journaling for clarity, we train our minds to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Over time, this consistency becomes second nature, making it easier to navigate complex decisions with clarity and purpose. Staying consistent can be challenging, especially when life gets busy or obstacles arise. One practical tip is to start small. Focus on integrating one Stoic practice into your daily routine, like taking a moment each morning to reflect on what's within your control. As this becomes a habit, gradually add more practices. Another strategy is to create accountability. Share your commitment to Stoic principles with a trusted friend or mentor who can support and encourage you along the way. It's also helpful to remind yourself of the bigger picture. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Even small, steady efforts can lead to significant growth over time. Journaling can be a powerful tool here, allowing you to track your progress, reflect on your decisions, and identify areas for improvement. By celebrating your successes and learning from setbacks, you reinforce your commitment to consistent growth. Ultimately, consistency in applying Stoic principles transforms decision-making from a reactive process to a deliberate and thoughtful one. It builds resilience, fosters trust, and ensures that our choices align with our deepest values. As we move forward, we'll explore the power of adaptability and how this trait helps us navigate change while staying true to Stoic ideals. Now, let's shift our focus to the power of adaptability, a core Stoic trait that helps us navigate uncertainty and make better decisions when circumstances change. Life is unpredictable, and while we can't control what happens around us, we can control how we respond. Adaptability is about embracing change with flexibility and resilience, allowing us to stay grounded in our values even when the path ahead isn't clear. Think about a tree bending in the wind. If it were rigid, it might snap under pressure, but because it's flexible, it can withstand even the strongest storms. Similarly, adaptability allows us to adjust our approach without losing sight of what truly matters. For example, if a project at work takes an unexpected turn, an adaptable person stays calm, reassesses the situation, and finds a new way forward. This mindset reduces stress and opens up opportunities for creative problem solving. One practical strategy for building adaptability is to practice the Stoic principle of accepting what we cannot control. When we stop resisting change and instead focus on how to work with it, we free ourselves to make thoughtful decisions. Another helpful approach is to embrace a growth mindset. View challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than as setbacks. This shift in perspective can make it easier to pivot when circumstances demand it. It's also valuable to prepare for change before it happens. While we can't predict every twist and turn, we can cultivate habits that make us more resilient. Regularly practicing techniques like negative visualization or the view from above can help us anticipate challenges and mentally prepare for them. This way, when change comes, we're ready to adapt rather than caught off guard. Adaptability isn't about abandoning our principles, it's about applying them in ways that fit the moment. By staying flexible, we can navigate uncertainty with clarity and confidence, making decisions that align with our values even in the face of change. Next, we'll explore the role of love and compassion in Stoic decision-making, and how these qualities can guide us toward choices that benefit not just ourselves but others as well. Turning our attention to love and compassion, let's explore how these deeply human values play a vital role in Stoic decision-making. While Stoicism is often associated with rationality and self-discipline, it also emphasizes the importance of caring for others. Love and compassion, in the Stoic view, are not weaknesses but strengths that guide us toward decisions that benefit not only ourselves but also those around us. At its core, Stoicism teaches that we are part of a larger community. Every decision we make ripples outward, affecting others in ways we may not always see. By incorporating love and compassion into our choices, we align ourselves with the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with others. This doesn't mean sacrificing our own well-being, but rather finding a balance where our actions contribute to the greater good. For example, imagine you're leading a team at work and need to make a tough decision about a project. A Stoic approach would involve considering not just the outcome for the company, but also how your choice impacts your team members. Taking the time to listen to their concerns, showing empathy, and finding a solution that supports everyone's growth reflects the Stoic values of justice and compassion. Another way to practice this is by extending kindness in everyday interactions. Whether it's offering a helping hand to a colleague or simply taking a moment to truly listen to a friend, these small acts of compassion reinforce the Stoic belief that we are all connected. Even in difficult situations, approaching others with understanding and goodwill can lead to decisions that build trust and foster positive relationships. Stoics also remind us that love and compassion begin with self-awareness. Practicing self-compassion helps us make decisions from a place of inner calm rather than fear or resentment. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we're better equipped to extend that same care to others. Incorporating these values into decision-making doesn't require grand gestures. It's about making thoughtful choices that reflect our shared humanity. By embracing love and compassion, we not only improve our own lives but also contribute to a more harmonious world. This concludes our exploration of the 30 Stoic techniques for better decision-making, each one offering a unique tool to help you navigate life's challenges with wisdom and grace. Having journeyed through these 30 Stoic techniques, it's clear that Stoicism offers more than just a philosophical framework. It provides a practical toolkit for making wiser, more intentional decisions in every aspect of life. From the dichotomy of control, which helps us focus on what we can influence, to the power of love and compassion, which reminds us of our connection to others, each technique builds on the next to create a cohesive approach to decision-making. These principles aren't just theoretical, they're actionable steps that can transform how you navigate challenges, whether it's managing stress, resolving conflicts, or pursuing your goals. By practicing mindfulness, journaling for clarity, or reflecting on mortality, you're not just making better decisions, you're cultivating a mindset of resilience, wisdom, and compassion. Now it's your turn to put these techniques into action. Start small, maybe with a daily journaling habit or a moment of gratitude each morning. Over time, you'll find that these practices become second nature, guiding you toward choices that align with your values and aspirations. We'd love to hear how these Stoic techniques have impacted your life. Share your experiences, insights, or questions in the comments below. Let's build a community of thoughtful decision-makers who support and inspire one another. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more insights to help you live a wiser, more fulfilling life. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Stoicism. Here's to making better decisions one step at a time.